Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carving It Up Live right here on Twitter, as well as the Grid YouTube channel and the Carving It Up YouTube channel. As always, I'm Bryson Carver, and there are some shows that you do throughout the course of the year that just makes you thankful to do this show. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The stuff that is going on, obviously, we all know about the NBA playoffs, what's going on there. But I mean, some secondary NBA news. Ime Udoka just got hired by the Rockets. I think it's a great hire by them. Aaron Rodgers, the deal, thank you, merciful God, has finally been completed between the Jets and the Packers. We'll discuss that with Barry Grant Jr., who'll be stopping by in about 25 minutes. Looking forward to hearing his takes on not just the Aaron Rodgers trade, which I know he's been covering extensively on his show, but as well as the Lakers and the Grizzlies. He's obviously a huge Lakers fan. I know he's gonna have some thoughts on the Lakers show going up 2-1, as well as the Dillon Brooks situation, as do I. Also, we'll get to the Sixers, who, while they swept the Nets, I had a lot of concerns about Philadelphia, and already one of them, unfortunately, is coming to fruition. I'll get to that, as well as the Knicks. Listen, they may not caught some people by surprise. It caught me by surprise. Okay, by taking a 3-1 lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers, this series looks to be officially over. Although, given my relationships with the city of Cleveland, I can't say I'm all that heartbroken over the outcome of the past 4 games. Get to that. What else we got? Oh, yeah, Clippers, Suns, Phoenix surviving games 3 and 4. Westbrook looks pretty good. I don't know. And again, we'll obviously get to the Aaron Rodgers situation. Real quick, though, before I get to my first segment, great NBA playoff games tonight. Okay, you got Bucks, season on the line. You don't want to go down 3-1 to a team like Miami, which smells blood in the water. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing. Giannis is coming back from injury, which is huge. And then you got Lakers Grizzlies tonight. And again, I'll talk about Lakers Grizzlies in my second segment. But you know where I got to start first? I got to start with the champs. All of a sudden, in the span of just 96 hours, we have a brand new series. Because the Golden State Warriors, I'm sure you heard, beat the Sacramento Kings in Game 4 by the skin of their teeth, 126-125, to tie the series at 2 games apiece, as the series now shifts to Sacramento for Game 5. And we all know about Game 5s, right? The winner of Game 5 in a tied series goes on to win like over 80% of the time. So it almost has like a Game 7 type feel to it. And I'll get into more what I'm thinking for that moving forward. But let's start with the Warriors. Or just the game in total. That was, to me, we're about just a little over a week into the NBA playoffs. To me, that was bar none the most entertaining game to this point. We've had some good ones. We have. But the shot making, you could say it was bad defense, and that's true to a certain degree. But the shots that Steph was hitting and De'Aaron Fox was hitting, Keegan Murray had a big-time game. He's non-existent the first 3 games, and the guy who's going to finish, first-team all-rookie was outstanding. Klay Thompson was incredible, had the best plus-minus of anybody on the floor. Again, Malik Monk had to struggle a little bit, but the shot making on both sides was remarkable. These are the 2 best offenses in the NBA, not just by what our eyes are telling us, but what the regular season numbers were telling us. The Kings had, statistically, while I don't believe them to be this in the scheme of NBA history, but statistically, the Kings were the best offense in NBA history, and this year they averaged about 120 points a game. The Warriors, no surprise, came in second, averaging 118 points a game. So these are the 2 best offenses in the NBA. These are some of the best shooters in the NBA. There's some of the best guards in the NBA. And it's some of the best coaches in the NBA. We all know what Steve Kerr, who he is, and what he represents as a head coach in the NBA. He has yet to lose a Western Conference playoff series. And Mike Brown, a disciple of Steve Kerr, just won Coach of the Year last week unanimously, and rightfully so. So where to start on what was just a heart-pounding type of playoff atmosphere at the Chase Center? First of all, let's give props where it's due to the Splash Brothers. And I'll talk about the Steph Curry blunder in the last 40 seconds. Steph had a rough last minute of the game, which was, very, uncommon for him to do so. But he was not good in the last minute of the game outside of that last stop on De'Aaron Fox. But Steph Curry, 11 for 22 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, was outstanding. Some of those shots he was hitting were ridiculous. The one he hit in the first quarter where he broke, I forgot who was guarding him. I think it was Malik Monk. I'm pretty sure it was Malik Monk or Trey Lyles or somebody who was guarding him, and he just looks like a totally out of control shot, falling backwards and swishes. It's We all know he's the greatest shooter ever, but some of those shots just never cease to amaze me. Klay Thompson was outstanding as well. Okay, we can't overshadow what he did. Okay, he had 26, 9 for 15 for the field, 4 for 9 from 3-point range, and again the best plus minus of anybody on the floor yesterday. And again, he had some big ones. He had a huge shot in the fourth quarter. Obviously, he had the third quarter buzzer beater, hit that huge three in the corner off the pass from Jordan Poole, off some amazing Warriors ball movement. But here's how I really want to give some shine to. Is the guy who the NBA did their absolute very best to take out of this series. They're not going to do that. That would be one, Draymond Green. I tweeted almost immediately after the buzzer sounded, Draymond Green won this game for the Golden State Warriors. Now you could say, Bryson, he went 3 for 14 from the field. That's totally fair. That is a more than justifiable criticism. Although I would say in my defense, it's not like Draymond is paid whatever he's paid, $30 million or so to score 20 points. I'd prefer Draymond keep the shot attempt number down. But nevertheless, what do you have? The classic Draymond Green stat line. 12 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and the block of the playoffs on Domantas Sabonis with 1.5 minutes to go. Not to mention the defense he's been playing. De'Aaron Fox had 21 points in that first half. Right? I mean, the Golden State couldn't stop Fox. He was unbelievable. Some of the floaters he was hitting. And listen, Fox this year was a 32% three-point shooter. I haven't checked what the numbers have been thus far in the series where he's shooting from three. It has to be better than 32%. It seems like the guy never misses a three-point shot he attempts. So you've got that aspect of it. What does Steve Kerr do? Because no coach in the NBA, not even close, makes better halftime adjustments than Steve Kerr. It's why the Warriors have been so great in the third quarter during this dynastic run. Steve Kerr puts Draymond Green on De'Aaron Fox, and up until the last 5 minutes of the game, Fox didn't really get anything he wanted. And when Draymond wasn't guarding Fox, and it was either Gary Payton or Andrew Wiggins or Klay Thompson, Draymond took Domantas Sabonis, who has been an absolute no-show in this series. And it's because of the defense that Draymond's playing on. Again, Domantas Sabonis, following the game, following the suspension of Draymond, following the game that Draymond was suspended, game 3, this is an opportunity now for Sabonis to kind of make a statement, right? Draymond comes back off the suspension. You can feel however you want about the stop. I thought it was worthy of an ejection, but definitely not worthy of a suspension. But nevertheless, Draymond against Sabonis. Sabonis was 7 for 13 for the field, 14 points. This is a guy who was an all-star this year and averaged almost 20 points a game. So he's being held under his average, largely ineffective. And again, Draymond had the block of the playoffs on Sabonis with 1.5 minutes to go to keep the Warriors lead at 3. Now, as for the last minute, I don't know if I'd have been able to do the show today if Sacramento had been able to cash in on all these opportunities. So we talk about the timeout called by Steph, and I'll get to that because that's the most talked about thing today, and rightfully so. But Steph had an opportunity. Make sure I'm getting this right, okay? All right. Under 57 seconds left in the game, Golden State has a 5-point lead. Draymond doing what Draymond does, because he's incredible. We talk about how great he is in the defensive end, and he's the best defensive player of this generation. Let's talk about what he does in the offensive end, getting Steph and Klay set up for good looks. He did exactly that with Steph Curry. Got him set his nice little dribble handoff. Steph with a nice little fake to get Harrison Barnes out of the way. And he's wide open. Some of the shots he was hitting yesterday, this should have been a layup for him. I mean, even Mark Jones, I love Mark Jones calling games on ESPN. Even Mark Jones said, and I quote, "Here's the dagger, folks," as Steph is going up into a shot, and he missed it. It was a perfect look. Draymond, again, great dribble handoff. Steph with a great fake to get rid of Harrison Barnes, and he just missed it. Well, Sacramento then goes down. Yeah, Malik Monk took a really quick shot in the other end. It was not a smart shot on his part. And I'm thinking, okay, this thing's over. All right, Steph's got the ball, 40-odd seconds left in the game. And then he commits the blunder of blunders by pulling a Chris Webber and calling timeout when he got trapped on the sideline. Of course, the Warriors did not have any timeouts, which is an automatic technical foul. In basketball, Steve Kerr, you saw his reaction to the sideline. And look, Steve Kerr, being the great coach he is, he took the blame after the game. He said, I should have should have told the players about that. Listen, I respect the heck out of Kerr for doing that. That's on Steph. If Steph were in his second or third year in the league, like, for example, if Davion Mitchell, who's playing very well, by the way, if Davion Mitchell committed that play in the playoffs, we're like, he's a kid. He's in his second year in the league. Like, we're not going to be brutal on him. We'd probably be more critical of Mike Brown. Like, coach, you got to tell your player that you don't have any timeouts. In the case of Steph Curry, this is his 14th year in the NBA. We all know how accomplished Steph has been in his 14 years as a professional basketball player. He's got to be aware in that situation. He's been in too many big playoff games to not know. You got no timeouts. You can't put yourself in that situation right there. And then Sacramento cashes in, right? Malik Monk hits the free throw after, Harrison Barnes missed a three, ball goes out of bounds. And then De'Aaron Fox, we'll get to Fox and his injury in just a second. He hits a tough three over Draymond Green with about 30 seconds or 27 seconds left in the game. Then here comes Steph Curry in the other end. Again, another good look, a little floater, a little past the free throw line, top of the key, and he left it short. He flat out missed it. No other way around it. At that point, I'm thinking, we're really going to blow this. Like, this is about to be 3-1 Sacramento going back to the Golden One Center. And this, I love my Warriors. I believe in my Warriors. Matter of fact, I saw them come back from 3-1 against KD and Russ back in 2016. But given how bad this team's been on the road, 3-1 feels like a little bit too big of a hill to climb. But Steph, as all great players do, he made up for his mistake. Last play, I wish we had the video of it, but last play of the game, 10 seconds left. They give the ball to De'Aaron Fox, as you obviously would. He was the clutch player of the year in the NBA this season. He's going to try and drive to the basket, and Steph stops him. Draymond comes to double, and they leave Harrison Barnes open. And which, by the way, that was what the Warriors wanted to do. Anybody but Fox shooting the basketball. And Harrison Barnes, former Warrior, won a championship in 2015 with the Warriors. He just missed it. And I swear, the way the ball looked in the air, just go rewatch it. It looks for a half second like it's going in. And the basketball gods smiled upon us yesterday because he shot it long. And the Warriors survived and lived to play another day. There's an old saying about, if you go at the king, you best not miss. If you're going to take a swing at the champs, the 4-time champs over the last 8 years, you best not miss. And Sacramento had a golden opportunity, had a couple of golden opportunities. But that's what separates the Kings and the Warriors. The talent gap, listen, I underestimated the Kings. I'm just going to come out here and be honest with you. I was wrong on Sacramento. I knew Fox was good. Listen, Fox has been tremendous all season long. And Sabonis has been a no-show in the series. But outside of that, the role players, Davion Mitchell is, Dillon Brooks and Patrick Beverley, take a couple pages out of this guy's book. Listen, Steph's still getting his, but Davion Mitchell's playing his heart out against Steph Curry. Trey Lyles is making shots. Again, Keegan Murray had a big game shooting the basketball yesterday. Sacramento's bench has been good. You give all the credit in the world to the Kings and to Mike Brown. I underestimated them. No question about it. However, that's what separates the Kings from the Warriors. It's just the simple fact that the Warriors have done this time and time again, and this is the Kings' first rodeo. And at the end of the day, as bad as the Warriors executed, primarily Steph, and it's rare that we say that, but it was Steph who really screwed up 3 times, if you think about it, in the last minute, with the missed 3, the inexplicable timeout when you had no timeouts, and then the missed floater, which was a good look, by the way. What did Steph do? He made up for it, stopped Fox at the defensive end with some help from Draymond, and the Warriors survive. And like I said, this is a brand new series. To De'Aaron Fox, who was, they say about young players all the time, oh, he's got next, or he's coming. Just watch out for this. I don't need to watch out for De'Aaron Fox. He's not coming. He's not coming. He's arrived. He is a top 10 player in the NBA. He's top 10. I had Lillard as my 10th best player, and I love Dame. Love Dame. One of my 5 favorite players in the league. But what De'Aaron Fox has done this year and what he's doing, translating it to the playoffs the way that he has, can't say enough about it. And unfortunately today, he was dealt a tough blow. According to Shams, I'll make sure I'm getting this tweet right, getting the information 100% correct. According to Shams Charania, De'Aaron Fox is potentially going to be out for Game 5. I want to make sure I'm getting the information on this 100% correct. Here we go. All right. According to Shams, Sacramento Kings star De'Aaron Fox has suffered a fractured index finger in his left shooting hand. He is expected to be listed doubtful to play in Game 5 against the Warriors. And then Woj later reported that Fox would need to play with a protective covering on the finger. Again, he'll be listed as doubtful. So take my rooting interest out of this. I love seeing great basketball, and that's exactly what De'Aaron Fox has brought. The back and forth between Fox and Steph has been beautiful to watch. If you don't love watching those two guys go at it, I can't help you. The clutch shots that both Steph and Fox have been hitting all series long, it's incredible. And it flat out sucks for him because this was kind of his opportunity to, I mean, you want to introduce yourself to the world. People knew, basketball fans knew who De'Aaron Fox was. We remember obviously him at Kentucky and the great tournament run he had there. And we're like, okay, the kid's so talented. You know, he's fast, he's twitchy, he's a not a great three-point shooter, but gets the basket. He's got a great like stop pull-up shot, like in the mid-range paint area. You want to really introduce yourself to the world? You be the best player in a series where you knock out the defending champions. Not just any defending champions, knock out a dynasty. That is how you introduce yourself to the world. And that's what De'Aaron Fox looked to a certain degree to be doing. And now it looks, if he does play in Game 5, which my gut tells me he will, I don't know, which something in me tells me he's going to play. He's going to have a protective covering on his left shooting hand. He's not going to be as effective. He's not. And I would be shocked if he maybe doesn't finish the first half. So for Golden State, you have to win Game 5. I didn't have that mentality coming in because my thing is Sacramento has to win Game 5. Because if the Kings win Game 5, you're going to lose Game 6 because the Warriors are winning Game 6. Just pencil that in. Golden State's not losing Game 6 at home. Either that's going to be to close out the series or to force a Game 7. My thing was the Kings have to win Game 5 to ensure that they got, worst case, they got a home court advantage for Game 7. We all know anything can happen in a Game 7. Now, for Golden State, a team that was 11-30 on the road this season, which as a Warriors fan still doesn't make sense, you have to win this game. You will not get a better opportunity to steal a game in Sacramento than you will on Wednesday, either with no De'Aaron Fox or what, 60, or are we going to give him 60% of De'Aaron Fox? You've got to take advantage. But a win is a win in the playoffs. Whether you win by 1 or you win by 100, it still goes down the books as 1 W. And my Golden State Warriors are right back in business. As I told you, they would be. Let's see. I see John's in the comments. He's got the good old-fashioned J-E-T. Whoop, there's a T. S. Jets. We will get to that, John. Don't worry about it. About Aaron Rodgers. Grady says, at what point do you feel like the Warriors will trade the farm for Dillon Brooks? Y'all need a dog like him. Well, it's funny you bring up Dillon Brooks, Grady. That's a beautiful segue in the next segment. Beautiful. Again, Barry Grant Jr. will be joining us in about 5 minutes. And Barry's happens to be a Lakers fan, so this is fitting. And I appreciate you, Grady, bringing us right into this segment. So the Lakers dog walked the Grizzlies on Saturday night. Final score wouldn't indicate that. 10-point victory, 111-101. Game got kind of interesting in the fourth quarter. Ja Morant had played well in that fourth. But the score after one, folks, was Lakers 35, Grizzlies 9. I'm not joking. That was the score after one quarter, and that was all she wrote. Ultimately, what this comes down to is, the Lakers are the better team. They're the more experienced team. I'm starting to wonder if they're not the better coach team. I've been critical of Darvin Ham, but I am not liking what I'm seeing from Taylor Jenkins right now. But let's focus on Mr. Brooks for Memphis. So Dillon Brooks, we all know, and I talked about this on Friday's show coming into this game on Saturday, was talking about how, LeBron's old, I don't respect you unless you put 40 on me. And the whole narrative was, man, LeBron's about to go off on him. I said, no, he's not. I said, I think if the game calls for it, he'll play big in the fourth quarter. But why would he dignify Dillon Brooks' unjustifiable trash talk with a response? Why would he do that? He's LeBron James. I think he's the greatest player ever. A lot of people think too. Worst case, second greatest player of all time. All-time leading scorer in NBA history. Why does LeBron James have to dignify Dillon Brooks' comments with a response? He doesn't. That's why this kind of LeBron sort of alluded to that after the game in his post-game presser. But funny thing happened in that basketball game is that Dillon Brooks not only was terrible, as he tends to be, 3 for 13 for the field, 1 for 5 from 3, 7 points, and got tossed early in the second half for hitting LeBron in the junk. It was a justifiable ejection because Harden got thrown out for the exact same thing. But Dillon Brooks, who had a lot to say after the Grizzlies' Game 2 win over the Lakers, suddenly was quiet as a mouse in the postgame following Game 3. He told Dave McMenamin, quote, "I don't want to talk." Well, thankfully yesterday at practice, he did talk. And let's give a listen. After all the smack talk that Dillon Brooks has done, take a listen to what he had to say about how people perceive him.
The media making me a villain, the fans making me a villain, and then that just creates a whole different persona on me. So now you think I intended to hit LeBron James in the nose. I'm playing basketball, I'm a basketball player. So if I intended, and that's whatever is in the flagrant 2 category of having a flagrant 2, and you think I did that, that means you think I'm that type of person.
Yeah, we do think you're that type of person, Dillon. We do. We've been thinking that for a while. First of all, Dillon Brooks does not get the benefit of the doubt because people say, well, he was going for the ball. Listen, anybody who's played basketball knows when you're trying to poke the ball out of the hands of somebody, you use the front of your hand, like where the thumb area is. You don't ball up your fist. This is why I had no issue with James Harden being thrown out in Game 3 against the Nets. You don't ball up your fist and use the back of your hand to steal the basketball. You just don't. Nobody does that. And we don't give Dillon Brooks the benefit of the doubt. You know why? Because he broke Gary Payton's arm last postseason. Intentionally. He happened to hit Donovan Mitchell in the groin area just 2 months ago. So he has a history of this. Not to mention, and I've been saying this for the longest time, and it brings warmth to my soul that finally I think the national media and all the fans who Dillon Brooks is referring to is finally getting to see what I've been saying for the longest time in the show. It's why I refer to him as a bum, because he's a bum. Let's look at Dillon Brooks' numbers through the playoffs, shall we? Dillon Brooks is averaging 11 points on 32% shooting for the field, 25% from 3. He is averaging 2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 0.3 steals. Not to mention his defensive win shares is the worst in the NBA playoffs thus far. Doris Burke hit the nail on the head. The great Doris Burke for ESPN hit the nail on the head Saturday. I'll sort of rephrase what she said in my own words. What does Dillon Brooks bring to the table that helps the Memphis Grizzlies? What does he do? Can't shoot, can't dribble, can't pass, can't rebound, can't defend. What does he do? If you're talking about set the edge, obviously it's not working. Because the Lakers, the Lakers have smoked the Grizzlies in 2 of the 3 games. Evidently, it's not working all that well. And by the way, when the Lakers brought their D- game to Game 2, the game was in doubt with 3 minutes left. Again, Dillon Brooks came out talking all the smack and misses 8 of his first 9 shots. Of course he did. He shoots too much. Again, he cannot handle the basketball. He can't guard me. So he dang sure can't guard arguably the greatest player of all time, nor any elite player in this league. He's a bad basketball player. When are people going to figure that out? He's not good. Never has been good. And if you're going to talk the smack that he's been talking and you can't back it up, either stand on it or back off. Or take it like a man, right? You're in the throes of competition. You're going back and forth in the postseason. Just take it. Either that or stand on it. You can either, after the game, Lakers out. You could say, you know what? Lakers outplayed us tonight. I'm confident in this group that we'll respond in game 4. We'll give everything we have, and we'll try and tie this thing up going to game 5 in Memphis. You can either say that or talk to the media. Actually, show up and defend what you were saying after game 2, talking all big and bad. You can, after game 3, talk to the media and stand on it. Yeah, you know what? LeBron is still old. Yeah, he is just another guy. He still hasn't scored 40 on me. You heard what I said last week when I said I don't respect anybody unless they put 40 on me. Either double down or take it. But you don't back off, because that makes you a phony, and it makes you, what I've been calling you, a bum. You're not good at basketball. You are bad for the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, listen, Memphis is a team that we all feel like, I may not like the Grizzlies. They're a couple pieces away from being a serious contender. Deep roster. I think Jenkins is a decent coach. I don't think John Morant can be the best player in a championship team. But they've got pieces. They got the defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson. They can't contend if Dillon Brooks is on their roster. They can't. Unless he plays 0 minutes. Unless he gets benched. They cannot win a championship unless they move on from him. He's a bad basketball player. Let's show the numbers one more time before I get to the comments. In the playoffs, he's averaging 11 points a game, barely 30% shooting, 25% from three-point range, 2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 0.3 steals. What does he do well? He can't shoot, pass, dribble, or defend. He's bad at basketball. Enough said. I mean, he's terrible. Got a few comments here. Yeah, Grady said, I'm trolling. Man can't play. And what's up, Philip? He says, I love Dillon Brooks. He's one of the best players for the Lakers. Oh, he's helping the Lakers. Yeah, no mistake about that. I thought the game really turned, honestly, seriously, when they threw Dillon Brooks out early in the second half. Listen, Ja kind of got things going, and certainly in the fourth quarter. Grady, on a serious note, Memphis might need to fire the coach and get him a worthy co-star. Talking about John Morant. I'd trade Jaren Jackson and some of these dudes for a Dame Lillard. He's a leader and can be the mentor that John needs. Well, you do sort of hit on a point, Grady, that I think is well taken, that Memphis needs veterans. Steven Adams can't be the only veteran in the room to really, kind of get the young dudes straightened out. Like, if you look at any dynasty in NBA history, whether it be Golden State, Chicago, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, they were always veterans on that team. There are always guys who'd either been there and done that or had been around the league a long time, wanted to get a championship ring before they retired, and kind of mentored the young guys and helped them grow into what they ended up becoming. Memphis has none of that outside of Steven Adams, and he's not on the court right now because he's hurt. John Rivera, I'm sending you a Dillon Brooks jersey, LOL. Don't do that, John, because that sucker's getting burned. All right. With all of that said, joining the show now is the co-host of the Grid Network. He is the host of the All Even podcast. He happens to be a big-time Lakers fan, which feels like a good time to bring him on because of that. Would you please welcome back to Carving It Up Live, Barry Grant Jr., live on Carving It Up. What's up, Barry?
What's up, man?
I'm doing good. I was just wanting to know how you felt about your Lakers thus far.
What do you mean?
Okay, well, let me phrase that as more of a professional question. What's your confidence level in the Lakers moving forward? Obviously, they took a 2-1 lead in Game 3, won convincingly for the second time in the series. Game 4 tonight, if you win this one, the series is pretty much a wrap. What's kind of your thoughts right now?
You want my confidence level?
Sure.
85%.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I obviously I can go to 100, but I know this team. I've watched them play the entire season. I understand the ebbs and flows of how Darvin Ham coaches his teams. I'd like to see if Malik Beasley is going to sit on that bench, and if they give what's my young boy name the chance from the Spurs? Lonnie Walker. Right. I think Lonnie Walker should be getting those minutes rather than Malik Beasley, but that's just me. I'm not the coach. So 85%. The game, I think it's tomorrow they play.
No, they play tonight.
Oh, they play tonight. Excuse me. So yeah. So if they play tonight, I don't know, man. I am iffy about them coming out with the same energy. It's at Staples, so maybe that crowd is going to allow them to be able to have that type of consistency in regards to being on point. So, I'm hoping, bro. I'm hoping that they're able to come out with some firepower.
Uh-oh, we're losing Barry. Okay, we just lost Barry. Hang on. See, we'll wait for him to get back in. Okay, wait. I heard you for a second, but okay, we've totally lost Barry. That's the second time we've had a guest on and the connection's gone. Okay, hold on. Let's get him back on. All right. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. All
right. Wait, okay, but you were talking about, the home arena kind of getting the Lakers into it.
Yeah, because we haven't had any home games since 2020. Before 2013 was the last home games that we had in the playoffs. So they supposed to be able to get loud just like how they were in Game 3. Get them going, because the Lakers tend to be lazy, especially when they think that they have the advantage. Right? We have the advantage in the series. We're the better team. We have the better roster. You said it yourself that you think that we might be better coached at this point. I'm not sure about that. It might be a push. But at the end of the day, if they come out with the same intensity, or even half of that, like 75% of what they brought in Game 3, I think they win this game easily. I think from that first quarter, they sent a message, and they kind of took their foot off the gas for the rest of the game. They did just enough to be able to hold the Grizzlies off. Ja Morant had a great fourth quarter. I don't think you're going to see that type of performance again with him hitting 6 out of 10 threes. He hit 30% of his threes this year. So he's not a great three-point shooter. If he's knocking down his threes, then you're in for a long night, because you can't really stop him going to the rim. But I think the Lakers, 85% chance, I think they have a good chance of taking a commanding lead on this series and heading to the next round.
I feel what you're saying. I would say there's 3 things that should give you a reason to be optimistic as a Lakers fan. Number one, it's one of the most well-known rules about the NBA playoffs. It's that role players always step up more at home than they do on the road. That's
very true.
Shaq calls them the others, and Austin Reeves and Hachimura, who's had a great series. Where's
Beasley then?
That's true. That's fair. he's due tonight, right? He's due
I hope so. I hope so.
You better hope so. The second thing is Ja Morant's going to play tonight, which bodes well for the Lakers because, as I've said for a while, the Grizzlies are a significantly better basketball team without Ja Morant. And third, and most importantly, and sort of shifting in the next question, Dillon Brooks is playing tonight, which I think is great for you. What's kind of your thoughts on Mr. Brooks and I'll let you. I'll give you the stage, Barry.
I mean, I really don't have any thoughts about Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks kind of reminds me of players when I used to play basketball. There's certain guys that just talk because that's all they can be able to do. Excuse me. If they can't get inside your head to kind of throw you off your game, then they don't really have much value. He has idiot brain. For him to say that the media has vilified him as a villain, you walk around like a wrestling character. He's literally a wrestling character.
He's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No. Don't even disrespect him like that.
Okay,
don't ever disrespect Stone Cold like that. But he is a character, right? He's made this character up. This is why he gets paid in the NBA. He's developed this thing. He's developed this image of himself, and cool. It's getting him paid for the Grizzlies. It may get him paid somewhere else if somebody feels that he can be able to help them. But I really have nothing to say about Dillon Brooks. He's not important enough for me to say anything. He's not when Ruben Patterson said that he's the Kobe stopper against Kobe. I was like, okay, Ruben Patterson's a good player, right? So, you can score a little bit, but it's Ruben Patterson. You really didn't, it really didn't hold that much weight. It's not like,
didn't take him seriously.
Yeah, it's not like Bruce Bowen was out there talking crap. Bruce Bowen was legit, right?
Sure.
Dirty player, did what he could to be able to get the advantage. He was somebody that you had to worry about. But Dillon Brooks, have you seen the way he shoots the basketball? I'm not even talking about if it even goes in. The way
he's got a terrible motion.
Basketball, it's not good. So, it's just like what Braun said. Braun's just like, listen, Braun doesn't really pay attention to stuff like that. But Dillon Brooks, really? Like, you really think I'm going to waste time and have Dillon Brooks as a topic of conversation? No.
He's a bad player.
Listen, he's in the NBA. I'm not going to go that far, but he has idiot brain. And there's a lot of people that have idiot brain, and, he has a case of it.
I think he's got more than that because he's okay. We'll move on from. We're spending way too much time on Dillon Brooks.
Exactly.
Shifting way too much time on like the 8th best player on the team. Moving to the champs. To me, again, Warriors and Kings aside, to me that was the game of the playoffs at this point thus far yesterday. In San Francisco, you talk about again elite shot making on both sides. Fox was unbelievable. Steph had a big time game. So did Clay. I said to start the show, the momentum is completely flipped. Not just, forget the fact that De'Aaron Fox is injured, which is a killer for the Sacramento Kings. I feel like when you consider the fact the Kings had numerous opportunities to win that game yesterday, and they just couldn't cash in. Golden State gave them plenty of opportunities, and that to me is what separates the two. Because in terms of talent, I don't think there's that big of a gap. What's sort of your thoughts on Warriors Kings thus far?
I mean, it's basically what I thought from before the series even started. It's going to be the best series in the playoffs. The other series that I really was excited about seeing was Knicks Cavs, and that hasn't disappointed either. In regards to just the excitement. Obviously, it's a 3-1 series, but the excitement of that series has really, really been captivating. But this series, I knew it was going to be a tough series. Anybody that, you yourself, I told you, we had talks, outside of this, don't sleep on them Kings. Like, they will get you. And I don't necessarily agree that the momentum has shifted, Bryson, because, Kings won their home games. Warriors won their home games. Somebody has to win a road playoff game in the series to win, right? Or not. Or if the Kings win all 4 of their
Kings
games,
don't have to.
Then they advance. So, it's just going to be a knockdown, drag out series. It's the best of 3 now. We're going to see what happens. Can the Kings win a game without De'Aaron Fox? Yes, they can. Can they win 2 games without De'Aaron Fox? I'm not sure. So we're going to have to see if somebody can be able to step up, if Domantas Sabonis can be able to have an otherworldly game. And, Draymond's done a great job on him. But the Kings can definitely win a game away from they can steal one. They can steal one without De'Aaron Fox. I truly believe that. So we'll see. But if the Golden State Warriors, they have the advantage, they have the experience, they've been here before. They need to come out swinging. They're on the road. Obviously, that's been a struggle for them all season. So, there's 2 things at play here, right? There's 2 different battles at play. The Kings are without their best player, and the Warriors, they just have the road yips. They just can't get right. Doesn't matter who they play. It's just something that they can't get over. That building is very loud, and that's an issue, right? So we're going to see how they can be able to withstand that. So I think both teams are going to deal with a bit of adversity come Game 5.
I hear what you're saying, although I it's kind of like what I was telling another Lakers fan, talk about this Lakers Grizzlies series. I feel like with all the chaos surrounding Memphis, LeBron smells blood in the water. Like he knows it's an opportunity to go in and sniff this thing out now. Win Game 4, the series is pretty much a wrap. You could probably close it out in Game 6. I feel like it's the same thing with Golden State. They won a game that maybe they shouldn't have won, especially with all the late game blunders, particularly by Steph.
Right.
But when you kind of survive that game, when you consider the fact that Andrew Wiggins coming back just 2 games in looks great on both ends, and you could have easily stolen one of those, especially Game 1 in Sacramento. And now the Kings don't have not just their best player, but the guy who was the clutch player of the year, and that's translating to these playoffs. He's been fantastic in the 4th quarter.
Right.
Again, my gut for some reason tells me he's going to play, but he's not obviously not going to be fully himself. But I feel like Golden State's going to take this thing in 6.
He's not Kawhi. He may end up just playing. So we'll see.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see. We got a few comments here. I think we both agree with this from Grady. Dillon Brooks is a scrub. Indeed. Our guy Patrick Brown here from the Grid. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if the game is very tight. I'm not expecting a blowout, but anything can happen.
I agree.
It's going to be closer, but I still think you guys are going to pull it out. I think we're due for it. I think AD is going to kind of come back down to earth again. He's coin flip Davis, as I called him, and it's what he's going to be from here on out. But no, Malik Beasley. It's the legacy game from Malik Beasley. Austin Reeves had it in Game 1. Malik Beasley has it in Game 4. You heard it here first.
Okay.
Okay. Here, a little side question here from Barry. John Rivera, how do y'all feel about the Phil Jackson comments? I'm sure you're aware of what he was talking about in the podcast with the bubble. Do you have any thoughts on that, Barry?
I was gonna make a video on this yesterday and I forgot. Here's my thing. Phil Jackson, when he came back to basketball to be the executive in regards to being the president for the Knicks, showed exactly who he was. And what I mean by that is that somebody who the game has passed.
Hmm.
So when I hear him talk about this, this is something that is very symbolic of who he is right now. The game has passed him. This generation of athlete, this generation of social awareness for athletes, in regards to where the organizations, the institutions are playing a part in pushing that awareness forward. He's behind the times. I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's a bigot. I don't think anything like that. I just think he's old. Honestly,
Okay.
like there's just some people out there that just don't get it. It's just not for them. There's a lot of people that when Colin Kaepernick did the kneeling, they never watched football again. That was it for them because they're just behind the times. They don't like the blend of social awareness and social uproar with their sports. They want to separate those things. Phil Jackson is one of those people. So I don't really have much to say. I'm not going to bash him. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you got to look back in time now to see how he treated black players. Treated black players fine. Everybody swears by Phil Jackson in regards to the coach, motivator, father figure, all of these things. So we're not going to go there. But this is just this generation of basketball, this generation of athlete. It's just not for him. So somebody put a mic in his face. He said something and now it's viral. But it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me at all.
No, it doesn't shock me either. And I think at the end of the day, first of all, I think he's lying about not watching the NBA. He was at a Lakers game very recently, so he's, evidently he's watching something.
I mean, listen, Genie's still the homie. Of course, you're gonna pull up to that.
That's true. That's true. But you know it is. But I think also you were talking about like the whole Kaepernick thing, and I've done numerous segments on the show about that. I'm like, regardless how you feel about him, the people that genuinely love the NFL did not stop watching the NFL, whether they agree or disagree. I think it's the same thing with NBA players being, vocal about social justice during the bubble and what was going on. Like I said, a lot of people are watching the NBA because this was, I think, has been the highest rated first round since like 2011.
Right.
And Warriors Kings has been the highest rated series. So people are engaged in some way, shape, or form. Shifting to, I want to talk about Philadelphia for a second because a lot of people at Philadelphia win in the East. They've obviously got one of the better rosters in the NBA. They're incredibly deep. Tyrese Maxey has been incredible. Certainly was in the first round against Brooklyn. But I'm already seeing I had three concerns about Philly. One of my concerns has already come to fruition, and that's the health of Joel Embiid. Every year since 2019, outside of 2020, he has either gone into the playoffs sick or hurt and has come out either sick or hurt.
Right.
And you saw he injured that knee in game 3, didn't play in game 4. Now he's got plenty of time to rest, which is huge. But it's already starting to unravel as we sit here today. What do you believe that Philadelphia can win the East, or do you have absolutely no faith in them whatsoever?
I believe that they can win the East. And the reason why I say that they can win the East is because the East right now, it's up in the air, right? Giannis does not look healthy. They look very vulnerable. The Heat may end up sniping them just like they did in 2020. So I don't know, man. I mean, you have the Celtics, but are the Celtics really ready? I'm not really sure. So we'll see. But I think they're still in good shape in regards to the Sixers. If they can be able to get him healthy to a point, I think a 75%, 80% Embiid is pretty much better than the majority of the bigs in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
So if they can get him there, limit his minutes, and I think Harden can be able to do his damage early in these rounds, right? When you need Embiid, you're going to need Embiid in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're going to need him to be that guy that Harden can never be, right? So I think with Maxey, with Harden, with the collection of talent that they have on that roster, I think they'll be fine if Embiid has to miss a game or two in the second round. I don't see that happening, but if he does, I think they'll still be fine, because that's the thing with good teams is that if they're going to have their superstar out, they can win a couple of games, a whole series or, 2 rounds. That's asking a lot, but in a microcosm, 2 games or so, they can definitely pull that out. So I don't have much concern with the Sixers right now. I think that it's a minor injury, and I think Embiid will be back fine.
I certainly hope he is, because he's in all likelihood going to win the MVP. And again, this would be the first time in his career where the Sixers really have a chance to make a run, where we have a potential to see him healthy, and we obviously hope that's the case. But I know you and I, neither of us trust Doc Rivers. Obviously, 3-1 leads that he's blown in his career, Orlando and 2 in Los Angeles.
One of the most overrated coaches in NBA history.
I've never seen a coach live more off of one title. By the way, 15 years ago. Than anybody in the NBA. And the second thing is, it's people fall into the James Harden thing every year, and every single season he fades away in some way or another. And that's why I don't trust Philly. If I can't trust your coach or your 2 best players, then I can't buy into you. That's kind of where I'm at on Philly.
That's fair. I can't even fight you on that. You know what I mean? Like it's shown itself to be true every year that we've seen it, right? We always say that players play to the back of their baseball card. The back of your baseball card says this, then that's 9 times out of 10 what you are. You can be able to fool people in a year or so, have a nice run, but you're always going to play to the back of your baseball card. Harden has never been a guy that can be able to carry a team in a series. He always tends to disappear. He always tends to look very disengaged in series clinching games or games where the team is going to be eliminated. Yep. So, that's where Embiid is going to help him. But if Embiid is not available, or if Embiid doesn't have the energy or the health or whatever it is, then the Sixers are in trouble. Now you have a Tyrese Maxey that's there by himself, that's trying to help. And he's a great player. He's a good young player, but he's not ready for that stage yet.
Yeah, he's still young, and I liked your baseball reference there. How about Yoshida for the Red Sox, hitting 2 home runs in the 8th inning in Milwaukee? He's for real. He's for real. Shout out to the Red Sox. I had to get that in on the show.
We'll get our own Japanese star soon.
No, you're not. You're not getting him. You're not getting Ohtani. I'm trying to help you, buddy. I'm trying to save you from the fall that's going to happen this winter.
All right, man. Listen, if he signs with the Mets, I'm going to hop on a plane to Tennessee, and I'm going to deliver this Ohtani Mets jersey personally. So,
okay,
I'm gonna have all for the whole family. Oh, for the
whole family. Everybody's getting an Ohtani jersey. 19 Ohtani, pinstripes, everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. A couple basketball questions left. I didn't really buy into the Knicks going into the playoffs. I thought Cleveland had more shot makers. I trusted Donovan Mitchell more. The job in which we shouldn't be shocked how good they are defensively, considering their coach is Tom Thibodeau. The job they're doing on Garland, on Mitchell, obviously Evan Mobley, we're not going to be too hard on him. He's only his 2nd year in the league. Simply put, they just look flat out better. Jalen Brunson was probably the offseason acquisition of the year last year. He's been incredible in terms of leadership. Obviously, he can knock down the mid-range shot, gets everybody involved offensively. And RJ Barrett played well yesterday as well. What's sort of your takeaway on the Knicks? Do you think maybe they could shock somebody in the 2nd round, be it Milwaukee or Miami? Maybe.
Yep.
You do. You're in. You're in the Knicks.
I've been in on the Knicks. I think that Jalen Brunson has given this team something that they haven't had in years: a point guard. They've always needed a point guard. All the guys that they've had, even when they had Melo, even when they had Stoudemire, if they had that point guard, the Knicks would be a special team back then. And what happened with the Knicks is that they were impatient. What ended up happening, a little story time with Barry Grant Jr. here, if you didn't know this. The Knicks went after Tyson Chandler instead of waiting to acquire Chris Paul the following offseason. Had they waited for Chris Paul, the Knicks would have probably been one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference for the tenure of Carmelo Anthony's run with the Knicks. And they probably would have got to an Eastern Conference Finals and maybe a Finals as well. Now, granted, when they were good, obviously the Miami Heat were there too, but they had, and then the Cavs, but they had a chance to have a run, but they were very impatient. So they decided to go get Tyson Chandler first. He won Defensive Player of the Year. But what's better, an interior big that doesn't score or a point guard that can be able to put everything together? And you're seeing the same thing with Jalen Brunson, is that he's a guy that can facilitate, get everybody involved, but he can get himself a basket. And that's something that Tom Thibodeau and his system loves. The run that he had with Chicago, he got a young Derrick Rose, youngest MVP to ever win one, right? You have a guy that can be able to facilitate, score on his own, set everybody up, play some decent defense. Homer Simpson is coaching his ass off, and the Knicks fans. Let me tell you something. Madison Square Garden, that place is a zoo. It's an absolute zoo, and it's also a madhouse outside of MSG.
Everybody sees the videos on social media.
Like it's just crazy. Like that guy that's going viral. It says, "Hey,
don't you want to come to the Knicks?
Hey, Spider, don't you want to come to the Knicks?" Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
great.
Funny.
It's fun.
It's really good. So Knicks fans are having a great time. Could you imagine if they actually would have pulled off that trade for Spider Mitchell? So they would have had Brunson, Mitchell, and they would have had Randall.
Don't even bring Randall into this. Don't even.
I'm just saying, as a third star with those two, that's a problem. That's a real problem. And kudos to them. They decided, obviously the Jazz decided to trade him elsewhere, but the young guys are stepping up. They have a lot of depth. They have some good players. So yeah, anything is possible, man. I remember I called the Miami Heat in the bubble to make the finals. I called it. Right? I said the dark horse to win to get to the finals was the Miami Heat. Don't sleep on those Knicks. Don't sleep on those Knicks.
I'm in now.
In a Eastern Conference there's a lot of teams that are up in the air right now. That team might be the one to make the run. So we'll see.
After what I've seen through the first 4 games, I wouldn't be shocked. A couple things is that, first of all, it shows you how it's a knock on Nico Harrison in Dallas that he wasn't able to keep Jalen Brunson there.
Yeah,
and obviously the Mavericks have just completely nosediving in terms.
You heard Mr. Mark Cuban say that he blames the parents, and it's just like, no, don't blame the parents, blame yourself. Yeah. You lowballed him instead of you could have been able to give him $100 million and he would have stayed, but you gave him a low deal because you didn't think that he was that good of a player. You can just be honest. You didn't think he was that good. You thought that he was a guy that could be able to be the 6th man of the year or something and not be able to be a starting point guard on any team. He can be a piece. Okay. Now the Knicks are showing you exactly what that piece can do.
And dare I say, is it at least a little bit of an indictment on Luka? Just because if you remember last year when Luka was out, Jalen Brunson had some huge games against the Utah Jazz in that first round, and then maybe wasn't quite as effective because Luka is such a ball-dominant player. Listen, it's a fair thought. And then secondly, I'd be lying to you if I said I was heartbroken over Cleveland just totally folding in the playoffs. It makes me happy deep down inside. It really does. I love every second of it.
Shouts to Mike Guido, man. He's miserable. I hit him up yesterday. He was just, any team that I'm a fan of, they just suck. They're always I'm the jinx. I say, well, you are, yeah. You're only Cavs fan I know. So God bless you.
Only Cavs. No, he's only Cavs fan I can tolerate. The only Cavs fan. And again, this is a shout out to Mike Guido right here.
Yankees lose.
Again, we gotta love it. Thank you, Poppy. Last basketball question before we move to Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, sir.
Ime Udoka was hired by the Houston Rockets about an hour and a half ago. I think it's a great move for Houston. They got a ton of young players. Obviously, Jabari Smith, who they drafted last year, who I love as a prospect.
Yes, me too.
Who's the kid they took year before that? Number 2 pick. I'm forgetting his name.
What's his name, man?
Oh my gosh. It's driving me crazy.
I like the kid too.
I lost it.
Yeah.
Listen, Houston's got a ton of young talent. There's one thing the Rockets throughout their history have always been good at, and that's getting buckets. They always have a good group of scorers. What's your thoughts on Ime Udoka? Because I think this could really work.
I think they got to steal. Shouts to Steven Silas, right? I think he's a good young coach. I think he'll find his way. If it's not as a head coach in the NBA, maybe he has to, be an assistant and kind of learn the ropes a little bit. Maybe, find another opportunity and then come back. But definitely want to send a shout to him. But listen, Ime Udoka is a great coach. He's a great coach. And he's a great motivator. And if these kids if they buy into what he's selling, they're going to be good for a long time because they have the foundation there. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a wonderful move. I think, the teams that were very hesitant into bringing him in, I think everybody made a mistake. They're going to, let this particular situation cloud their judgment about his coaching ability.
Right.
I don't think that that's the right thing, but hey, to each his own. But the Rockets got to go win.
They did, and listen. I have a feeling it may get off to it because listen, Houston's obviously not a very good team right now, but I have a feeling it's going to get off to a little bit of a rough start because listen,
Jalen Green is who we were talking about.
Jalen Green, thank you. Yeah, he's G League guy. I remember he's a tremendous scorer, but I have a feeling it could get off to a little bit of a rough start because you remember obviously in Boston it was they were playing 500 basketball, and then second half of the season they were.
It's going to take time, Bryson. It's not going to be something where they're going to win 50 games next year. They signed him, and I'm sure they told him, listen, you're in it for the long haul. Don't worry about the first 2 years. Let's go ahead and accumulate as much talent as we can. We have draft picks, so we can be able to really change and mold this franchise and roster around in the next few years. So they'll be fine.
And if they can win the lottery and get Wembanyama, Houston can be a problem. If that's the case.
What about Scoot?
He's good too. I like him as a scorer.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I'm saying it on your show. It's like I said years ago I don't even know if I had a show back then, but when did Ja and Zion get
2019.
Drafted? So I didn't even have a show back then. I was just talking to people that I was talking to, that Ja Morant was going to be a better player than Zion Williamson. I'm telling you right now, Scoot Henderson is going to be a better player than Victor Wembanyama. I'm saying it right now. I have looked at tape. I have looked at game footage. I've looked at all of this stuff. Yeah, you want the unicorn to be great. But let me tell you something. That kid Scooter, I'm just saying, NBA body, he's a problem. He's going to be an impact player from day one. Trust me.
Are you willing to go out on a limb and say if the Rockets get the number 1 pick that they should take Scotty Henderson?
Yes.
Okay. I love you going on. Listen, I think he's an incredibly talented kid. I think didn't they play each other like a couple of months ago, I think. But I remember Scotty had a big game in that game. So
that's all I'm saying, man. Like, we've always seen those can't miss projects go number 1, and then the guy that went number 2 ended up being the stud. So
Kevin Durant's a good example back in 2007.
Michael Jordan too.
Michael Jordan, yeah, he ended up having a decent career.
Yeah.
He had a decent career. To the story of the hour right now, Aaron Rodgers. I think it is safe.
It's over. It's over.
I know. You know what sucks about it? I'm gonna miss the Aaron watch on your show. I'm really gonna miss that with the theme music and everything. It was.
Shouts to Claw for that, man. Yeah. Aaron watch was fun, man. For the couple of weeks that we were doing it, man. It's we're gonna have to do a little ceremony for the end of Aaron watch on Friday. So yeah,
you're gonna have to get that green number 8 jersey, to kind of like put that make it final. But listen, I think it's safe to say, because I remember we've had numerous discussions about it back in March when he officially announced his intention to play for the Jets, is that you as well as a lot of people, especially in New York, are all in on this as a potential maybe AFC title contending team. I'm more of a can they make the playoffs type of guy, because again, I'll show I think I've got the graphic here. I'll show the numbers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't all that great last year. 19th yards per game, 26th in picks, 16th in passer rating, 26th in QBR, and then last in 300-yard games. So I think overall it's not gonna translate the way that a lot of people think it will in New York with the Jets. He said Ozzy's in the building, Grady, by the way. What's your takeaway right off the bat now that it's official, given what the compensation was?
I think, I said it on IG, and people can be able to go check that out. I think this is a great deal for both sides. I think, the Jets getting the 15th pick, moving 2 spots down, and then the Packers taking the 13, the Jets giving them a 2nd round pick for this year, them taking back a 5th, Packers getting a conditional 6th, I believe, or something like that. So it's just a good deal for both sides. I think the Jets, in my opinion, they're the best team in New York. They have the better quarterback.
Yes, I agree.
If you want to give the Giants the running back edge slightly, I can give them that. Offensive line, I think the Jets have that locked. I think the skill positions, the Jets have that. Obviously, the defense, the Jets have that. Special teams, I'll give it to the Jets. And head coaching, if you want to give the edge to the Giants, that's fine.
Definitely Giants.
But the Jets are just the better team. And the thing with Aaron Rodgers, I saw the numbers that you put up there. All of those things are fair and warranted. But I look at it from a different perspective, Bryson. I look at it from a point where Aaron Rodgers probably just didn't want to be there anymore. and the skill positions weren't as great as they normally were, you're going to see an uptick because the talent level is way higher on the Jets than it was on the Packers from last season. So I can guarantee that you'll see some 300-yard games. And maybe they don't necessarily need those type of 300-yard games from him because the running attack is really solid on this team. So they can be able to do the run, and the play action is going to be really, really good. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a lot of fun being a New York Jet. I really do. I think for the first time in his career, he's in a place that he should have been in from day one. He's a California kid. Green Bay it was an odd fit from day one. It worked.
Yeah.
They made it work. But I just necessarily believe that this is the stage that he should be on. And people say that we're going to see how he handles the media. Okay, that's fine. That's obviously warranted. But winning cures everything. If the Jets play well, doesn't matter what his press conferences look like, right? So I think that it's going to be a great opportunity in these next 2 years. If he does play, he might play longer than that. If he has a lot of fun with these Jets, you never know. This might be the resurgence in his career that he's been looking for. It's sometimes, when you're in a situation where it's just the same monotonous stuff happening, Bryson, your spirit kind of gets a little weak, right? You
Sure.
tend to not have the motivation in doing certain things. But once your situation changes, you move, get a new job or something, you find that new energy and that new vigor for life. Maybe that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to feel in New York, because the energy here, him coming here, the expectations that the fan base, that the media is going to have, I think he's going to finally be like, man, I want this. Like, this is what I want. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Green Bay. This is what I want. So, it's time to put up and shut up. We're definitely going to see. But I think the Jets are going to be one of the best teams in the AFC East, obviously, Bills and them. And if you want to sprinkle the Dolphins in there, absolutely, it's going to be a dogfight.
Oh, it'll be a fun division, no question about it.
Yeah.
You make plenty of good points. My sort of what I would counter with, you mentioned that, last year you could say all those numbers were the fact that he didn't want to be there. And that very well could be the case. I think immediately after the 2021 season, he probably wanted out after his most recent MVP.
Yes.
What I would respond with is, well, what we saw last year looks a lot like a lot of his playoff starts. And he's a guy who has tended to really, particularly in home playoff games. I mean, you look at obviously way back in the day when they were 15-1, they lost to the Giants in the playoffs badly. You look at Tampa Bay in 2020, and then last year or a couple of years ago with the Niners only scoring 13 points and still winning the game because Aaron Rodgers was pretty terrible. My question for him has always been his commitment level. And is that always tied to Green Bay? Maybe. But when you have a new coaching staff, obviously you could say he's familiar with Hackett, but Hackett did not call his plays when he was in Green Bay. That was LaFleur's job. Again, new receivers. It took till about December for it to kind of click a little bit in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But it was too late at that point because obviously they lost that last game against Detroit.
Right.
I have a hard time believing that you can be a contender if you've got best case scenario, Aaron Rodgers is the fourth best quarterback in the conference. I don't think anybody would take Rodgers over, obviously not Patrick Mahomes or Burrow or even Josh Allen. And so I think, and again, today you may think I'm crazy, and you could be right. I would take Lamar Jackson, just given recent production over Aaron Rodgers.
Does Lamar Jackson have a team?
He does not have a team, but he will. He's playing in Baltimore this year. He's playing in Baltimore this year.
I'm just saying.
He's playing Baltimore this year. That's what I'd say. So I have a hard time for that reason buying into the Jets as contenders.
Listen, I would, all of those points are warranted, Bryson, but my thing is, you really think that Allen is that much better than Aaron Rodgers? Because
he had a rough year.
He's a bit of a as well. So, we'll see.
Allen is a slightly better version of Dak Prescott, if you think about it.
And you know how I feel about them.
We won't talk about Dak. Don't worry. I'm not going to get you in a bad mood.
Yeah, just don't. I'm having a good day.
I will take the Cheesehead Ozzy gear off. I will have to ask you a question because I've asked a lot of my guests this question before we get out of here. So obviously I announced a few months ago that I'm going to be finally picking a team to root for. It's been 3.5 years.
When is the announcement coming?
It'll be before the schedule comes out.
You know what? I think it should come draft night. That's a very
draft night.
That's a very special night. That should, because teams are settling in. there's a new hope for teams. They have their guys. They're gonna go into OTAs and all that stuff. I think that draft night should be when this happens. You can pick when, but I think that'd be a good idea. That's just my opinion.
That doesn't give me a whole lot of time though to choose.
You should already have a decision. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, Bryson?
It's hard. It's between two teams, and they both have the pros and cons.
You are a man that studies the game. You understand football in and out. You're just kind of like posturing at this point. You're posturing. You're definitely posturing.
I feel called out right now.
You're posturing. That's exactly what you're doing. You're just dragging it out.
It's not gonna be on draft night. I hate to tell you, it's not gonna be on draft night. Matter of fact, the draft may very well affect my decision.
It should.
So that's why I'm waiting. And then last thing, who wins the NBA championship?
All right, you're gonna get two answers from me. There's gonna be the answer from my heart, and then there's gonna be the answer from my head. Heart, you're definitely gonna go Lakers. Obviously, I think the Lakers are a dangerous team, and I'm not even just being a fanboy. Like, they are a dangerous team. But my head, I that's a tough one, man. Gun to my head, I would say, I'd say the Suns.
Really? I didn't expect that answer from you. Why is that? Because you were kind of skeptical on Phoenix when they made the KD trade.
I still am, but it's just sometimes star power is just a bit much, and you need stars to be able to get buckets in certain situations. They have that guy, and Chris Paul is what he is. So, like I said, it's a tough. I think a better question to ask me would be, who do I have in the finals, right? But winning it all, certain things can be able to change. So many things can be able to change. So, from here till June, right? So it's just, it's tough, man. But, I'll say my finals pick, with my heart, Lakers, Bucks. With my head, I would say Suns, Sixers, or Golden State Bucks.
There you go.
We got a rematch. But it all depends, right? If the Kings, obviously the Kings beat the Golden State Warriors, I think the Lakers get to the finals. If the Golden State Warriors beat the Kings, man, that second round. I think that's that.
Adam Silver's praying for the series.
Yeah, that might be the ratings draw of the entire playoffs, and you're gonna see like a precipitous drop after that.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see, man. There's a lot of great storylines in the playoffs right now, and it's really hard to pick one. You know what I mean? Like, I sound like I'm waffling right now, but it's really tough. It's tough to pick.
This is why you need me as a friend, because my head and my heart are the exact same pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just, it doesn't change. I didn't waver. I didn't change team. Made my pick in October. I'm sticking with it, and I'm going down with the ship if the ship does go down. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, they're definitely gonna go down. They're gonna go down to the LeBron missile. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, 3 out of 4 times that was not the case, but okay. It's just listen. It's okay. You could be the greatest player ever and lose 3 out of 4 finals to the greatest dynasty since the Bulls. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's over. It's over. Okay. Light the beam.
Oh, stop.
We gonna get it done. Okay. We gonna get it done.
Cute little flashlight. Come on.
Are we talking about Kawhi before I get out of here?
Listen. I was gonna talk about Russ, but if you want to talk about Kawhi, have at it.
You know what? This is your show. I don't want to step on it. So what were you going to talk about with Russ?
Well, here's what I was going to say. It's I mean, listen, I watched every dribble of games 3 and 4. I didn't watch all of game 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Russ, it's undeniable. Russ played well games 3 and 4.
Yes, he did.
But the thing that I've always said about Russ in games 3 and 4, it's kind of like when they had a game against Memphis about a month ago. Westbrook had a great night, led them in scoring a whole bit. It's kind of an indictment on Russ because he only plays that well when he doesn't have other co-stars. And that's what I've said. So and obviously Clippers lost both games. What's sort of your view on Russ and the Clips?
You see his face?
Well, I know they're from the basement, but outside of that,
I have nothing. I I told you that the basketball gods were so kind to me. They weren't kind after we won the championship. They gave me a lot of injuries, a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, but they gave me something. They put Russell Westbrook with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You can't ask for a better present as a basketball fan, as a Laker fan, because what do you have to look forward to? What do you think they're gonna win? The Clippers were never gonna win. Even Clipper fans. I have Clipper fans in my DMs.
Whoa, wait a minute. You know Clippers fans?
Yeah, I know a couple.
All 13 of them?
There's like 2, I know. So yeah obviously there's like 11 left. But the thing is, they're starting to abandon ship on Kawhi. They're done. They're done. They're done with him. They're done with Paul George. They're done with a whole lot, right? They like Russ, but I'm telling them, listen, you're not going to like Russ next year. He's giving you what you want this year, but don't re-sign him. You tell him that, listen, we're happy that what you did for us. Thank you for your service, and you can move on. If you re-sign Russ, you're going to get what you paid for. I'm telling you right now, Clippers fans, if they re-sign him, the Clippers are going to go into the tank. I'm telling you right now. This is an albatross of what you're seeing. This is not real. He's going to give you these great games. But what I said before, players play to the back of their baseball card. That's what happens. And you saw that with the erratic turnovers that he has in the fourth quarter. You know, you can look at the numbers. If people look at the box score, oh, Russ killed, man, he played well. But when you watch the game, that's why I always tell people that numbers lie all the time. You have to watch the game to see exactly how that particular player impacted the game, how they played through all 4 quarters of the basketball game, not just looking at numbers. And Russ costs his team games when it matters the most. That's what he does. That's who he is. It's just what it is.
End of game 3, I think it was a 5-point game with a minute left, so they still absolutely had a chance to win. He had a bad turnover under the basket. So that's kind of
that's just who he is. You take the good with the bad, and it's mostly bad. So
you would know.
I would know. But with this Kawhi thing, man,
I'll tell you what.
Stephen
A. caught a lot of flack. I'm with him.
There's no reason for him to catch flack, because you see, the thing is, the truth hurts. Right. And I said it on my show, this past podcast. You guys can check it out. I said the reason why Kawhi Leonard is a Clipper is because he knew exactly what he was doing. Desperate franchises will make desperate decisions. You think any other team that has any respect for themselves was going to give in to the demands of Uncle Dennis and Kawhi Leonard? No. This is why he was using the Lakers as leverage to go to the Clippers, so he can be able to get exactly what he wanted. Yeah, I want to play 50 games. Yeah, I want to have the helicopter take me 12 blocks. Yeah, I want to have my family on the planes. Yeah, I want to have Uncle Dennis into everything. That's what he wants. And teams that have a winning culture will never sign up with that. You think Masai Ujiri was going to tell him yes to all of that stuff? No. You think that Jeannie Buss was going to do that?
He may have after the championship, maybe.
There was a lot of stuff that came out that Masai Ujiri was not okay with. And that's why he's not a Raptor. Because he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to have you handcuff my franchise. You're a great player, gave us a championship, but no. I have to draw a line here. The Clippers said, no, come right in. Come right in with all the nonsense. Come right in with all the load management stuff. You get what you asked for. Nobody can be shocked about what happened, because this is what he told you he wanted. This is what he told you he wanted. He didn't want to play a lot of games, and he was going to ramp up and be available for the playoffs. Really? That's not how your body works, especially when you get older. You need to play. And if you're injury prone, you're going to tend to be injury prone when you least expect it. And that's what the Clippers have, and they're stuck. And that's why I love it. They're stuck. They're stuck because nobody will take Kawhi Leonard with that headache. No one.
Well, you made a great point about, you're actually better off playing more games than less. I'll use an example from the Warriors, Kevon Looney. First 3-4 years in the NBA, he could not stay on the floor. He had a big hip surgery, back problems. Actually, had to completely change the way he played the game. If you look at his highlights at UCLA, totally different player.
Right.
And now this is 2 straight years he's played all 82. Mikal Bridges has yet to miss a game in the NBA. He actually played 83 this year because of the trade. And so listen, the more it's kind of like when you it's kind of like with anything, the more you practice, the better off you are. It's kind of that same thing in the NBA. Listen, I think Kawhi is the one player in the league that I think almost has to load manage, because I think the guy has arthritic knees. I think he said knee problems since he came into the league. But no, you're absolutely right. And listen, I bought into the Clippers the first year of that experiment, but once they blew that 3-1 lead to Denver, I was out. I sold all my Clipper stock, and I haven't bought in since. I feel pretty good about that decision.
Did I tell you this story about me as a fan or as a Laker fan? I have never, and this is me going back from the days where I used to have my Magic Johnson jersey and my James Worthy jersey and all of these Laker things. I used to have the high socks like Magic. Cause my mother used to buy me all of these things. Shouts to her, rest in peace. But I have never used the Clippers in a video game in my entire life. I've used every single NBA team. I've used played franchises and Clippers. I've never used.
Never.
The hatred goes that deep.
That is deep. But I respect it, though. At least you're consistent.
I will never root for. And listen, I don't know if you heard my dummy of the week, but Lamar Odom, shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Lamar Odom. You listen, I don't know what you were drinking that night, but you need to relax. Okay? You need to relax. No Laker fans will ever cheer for Clipper fans. It will never happen. It will never happen. You're squatters. Get your own building and get out.
It's like asking you Mets fans to root for the other team in the Bronx. So it's not
never.
No.
Why? And vice versa. Why would I want a Yankee fan to root for Mets? No.
Either with us or you're against us. That's
pick a side and move on. Clippers. Give a break. Shouts to Stephen A. Smith for telling the truth. I'm glad that people still tell the truth in the media, because some people like to spit lies and they like to push this narrative out there and then they go home and they tell the real story, or they go on their podcast and tell what they really feel. Like nonsense. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Kawhi Leonard is a charlatan. That's what he is. He fooled the Clippers, or maybe he didn't fool the Clippers. He just told them exactly what it was, and now they realize that they're stuck. I think the world is just kind of like catching up, like, oh, man, this guy's, what's going on? This is who he is. This is why the Spurs were finished with him. They were done with him. They didn't want no parts of him after that. He wanted to talk about, and remember, you said, hey, real quick, obviously, I know you want to go into some other stuff, but, when Tony Parker came out and was very critical of Kawhi Leonard, they buried him. They buried Tony Parker. Oh, how can he say that about a guy that's always been there? You don't think that Tony Parker knows who Kawhi Leonard is? You don't think that he understood, like, bro, I came back from a torn quad, and what are you doing? So are you with us or are you against us? I think that you're against us, so which means that if you're against us, then you need to go. He showed his character a long time ago. This is who he is. People want to say, okay, he's not a leader. This is somebody that you're paying big money to who cannot lead you out of a parking lot. Couldn't lead a parade.
That feel good getting off your chest there?
Anything to bash the Clippers always feels good to get off my chest. They're bums.
Listen, you feel the same way about the Clippers I do about the Memphis Grizzlies, okay?
They're
so we're the same thing. Same thing. And like I said, on behalf of all Dub Nation, thank you to what you guys are doing to the Memphis Grizzlies right now.
Yeah,
it is. I almost shed a tear after the first quarter.
I wish it was the Clippers. I wish we had a piece of those Clippers in the first round. That's what I wanted.
It's a shame. It's a shame it didn't break for y'all like that. But y'all haven't beaten them since 2020, right? They're going to hang on to that.
Yeah, they can put that. Hey, they can hang a banner for once. They can hang that banner. They can hang that banner.
They can need to hang that Western Conference Finals banner from 2021. They're a little late on that.
Instead of hanging black sheets.
Yeah, exactly. They're just filling up space in the arena.
Oh my goodness, what a bunch of losers.
They are. All right, Barry, we're gonna see you on Thursday at the Grid 2023 NFL Draft Live Reaction Show, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time, right here on the Grid's YouTube channel. Look forward to having you there, and Ryan and everybody there for the draft show. Looking forward to it. Everybody tune in. Absolutely. And we're definitely gonna make it happen. So
yeah, absolutely. Check that Grid show out, man. We're gonna have a lot of our creators on there, man. It's gonna be a good time. We have a lot of great opinions, a lot of great takes. Bryson is going to do a great job moderating like he always does with the draft shows. This is our first official NFL draft. We normally do the NBA draft, which you do a great job. So looking forward to it, man. You're doing a great job. So keep it up.
Appreciate it. You do the same, bro.
Yeah.
That was Barry Grant Jr. of the All Even Podcast, bringing the fire as always. That's what he does. He's riding the Clippers, though. Somebody had to say it. Let's see. We got a ton of comments. I'll get to a few of them here. Let's see. Hang on. Grady was talking about Aaron Rodgers said he might go to the Vikings next. Talking about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's the only logical next step in his evolution as an NFL player, right? Spends a long time in Green Bay, wins MVPs, takes a little quick stop with the Jets, lead the Vikings to the NFC title game. Although I think the Vikings are going to take Hendon Hooker. You heard it here first. Vikings are taking Hendon Hooker, and they're gonna be a better franchise for it. Grady says Lakers Warriors might be one of the greatest series of all time if we get it. Not kidding. I agree with you. I mean, if you get Philly, Boston, and Lakers Warriors in the second round, holy cow, that's even Knicks, Bucks, or Heat, whoever wins that series, and that game tips off in a few minutes. That's a huge game for Milwaukee. That'll be great. John says Harden's going back to Houston. That's what all the reports are saying. I don't get it. I mean, listen, he loves the city, obviously. He spent, 7-8 years there. Won a lot of games, won an MVP there, got to a couple of Western Conference finals. But at this stage, I think Harden would be more intent on playing for contending teams, which the Sixers are certainly in that discussion. Houston's kind of in a developmental stage, and I'm not real sure, especially with hiring Udoka now, why the Rockets would take him back. It's very, very odd to me. Let's see. Got a few comments here. Okay, Barry's in the comments. He says Markkanen wins most improved. Well deserved. Very well deserved for Lauri Markkanen, who, by the way, is serving in the military there. Is he from Finland, I think it is? I don't know, but I know he's serving the military now, so hats off to Lauri Markkanen. And well deserved. Most improved player. Was the best player on the Jazz team that caught a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. So very well deserved. I picked him to win it, and I think he absolutely deserves it. Patrick says Clippers' downfall is courtesy of Kawhi's demands. They need to move on from him or he retires. I've never played with the Clippers either, even on NBA Jam. NBA Jam is where it's at. I mean, these recent 2Ks have been trash. I'm just telling you right now. Philip, I think the finals is going to be Knicks versus Nuggets. Wow, how about that? I love Philip going on a limb there. Listen, Knicks are playing well. They've probably been the best defensive team in the playoffs to this point. And the Nuggets, they dropped that game. I watched that game last night against the Timberwolves. Great finish. Anthony Edwards was outstanding. So was Jokic, by the way. But, listen, Denver will take care of them in Game 5, but Nuggets have looked good. Now, you could say the Nuggets have faced the worst team in the playoffs in all likelihood, and that's fair, but they look good through the first few. Although, I'll tell you this, though, Philip, if it's Knicks Nuggets, of course, Knicks, that'll be good for the NBA because it's New York, but I promise you, Adam Silver does not want the Knicks, or the Knicks maybe. He does not want to see the Nuggets in the NBA Finals. Western Conference Finals, sure. It's Jokic getting back there, 2-time MVP. It's a good story. Finals, and I'm not insinuating the league's going to rig the games, obviously, because that's just a bunch of conspiracy nonsense. But I'll tell you, I mentioned that the ratings are up since the highest they've been since 2011. Let me tell you something. Like Grady mentioned it, the second round, you could have Lakers Warriors. So you get another LeBron Warriors playoff series, which will be a massive ratings draw. Plus the fact it's the Lakers, who are the most iconic brand in the NBA, maybe in sports, up there with the Cowboys and the Yankees. And then you got the Warriors. Obviously, you got the dynasty, 4-time champs and all. That'll be fun. You'll have Sixers Celtics. That's a series we knew we'd get for a while. Long as Boston doesn't play with their food, take care of business in Game 5 against Atlanta. That'll be a fun series. Either Milwaukee or Miami against the Knicks will be must-see. That'll be a defensive, just slugfest, that series. Kind of a little bit old school. What else? Who's the one series I'm missing? Oh, yeah, Nuggets and Suns. It's what's all likely going to be. That'll be a fun series as well. You got Jokic versus KD. I mean, I'm going to roll with KD and the Suns and all that good, but I will say this. Nuggets are way deeper. And the Nuggets have looked better more consistently than Phoenix. I mean, it's taking 40-point games from D-Book or from KD just to get them past the Clippers without Kawhi and Paul George. So the Nuggets are going to be a whole different test for them. That'll be a fun series as well. Listen, I want to live in the moment, enjoy the first round series. This Warriors-Kings series is incredible. But that second round, whew, that's going to be fun. Grady, how about the Rudy Gobert trade? Man, that's what you get. I want to go in. I think I still have it. I appreciate you mentioning this, Grady. Make sure I still have the graphic, not on the show, but on my phone from the Rudy Gobert trade. Where is it? I guess I must have deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it. Point is, the Timberwolves gave up a freaking king's ransom for, Rudy Gobert, who's been more known for, socking teammates on the sideline during games than he is actually, Oh, I didn't mean to bring that up. I didn't mean to bring that up. That's slow of me. I shouldn't have done that. But that's the thing. He's been better at punching a teammate than he has been playing basketball. But even that was a bad punch. He didn't even ball up his fist. He barely made contact with Kyle Anderson's chest. It's a disaster. It will go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. And don't say I second guessed this, because I said this back in whenever it was made, June, July, whenever the trade went down. Horrendous trade by the Minnesota Timberwolves. But then again, this is the same franchise that literally gave Andrew Wiggins to the Golden State Warriors, and I think it's pretty obvious who's won that trade. It's the rule I've always said. And you notice this in the NBA and in the NFL. Notice the really great, the really successful teams always do deals with the dumb teams. For example, the Patriots for 20 years. You know how many trades New England did with Detroit and Cleveland? Because they know they're not going to fleece Pittsburgh. They're not going to, steal one out from under the Saints or something. That's not what they do. It's not what they do. Cleveland, Detroit, yeah. Golden State does trades with Minnesota. Minnesota gets they get Rudy Gobert for freaking 4 first-round picks. That was a bad deal. Last topic of the show. I sort of elaborated on it, and I'll close the show with it today. I feel terrible for De'Aaron Fox. Even as the Warriors, I feel terrible for the kid. When you consider the regular season he had, I think he's absolutely an all-NBA player. Averaged 25 a game and 6 assists, shot over 50% for the field, and was far and away the clutch player of the year. Led the NBA in fourth quarter scoring. Had I think 3 buzzer beaters or 3 game winners. One of them was a buzzer beater. I think he gets Orlando. It was a half court shot. He's been amazing for the Kings all season. He's been the driving force to why they're here, why they're the 3 seed, why they're statistically the best offense in NBA history. Give him all the credit in the world. And in the playoffs, I definitely wondered about his teammates, whether it translate. And outside of Sabonis, they've all proved me wrong. But game 1, tight game against Golden State in the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox gives you 38 points in his playoff debut. Game 2, tight game, fourth quarter. Actually, the game was tied with 6 minutes to go. De'Aaron Fox, 24 points. Now, the shooting percentage wasn't good, but he has some huge shots, set up his teammates for good looks that they knocked down, hit a dagger 3 with about a minute and a half left, so props to him there. Wasn't great in game 3, but there wasn't a king that stepped on the floor that was good in game 3. It's a Golden State played desperate. They had to win that one. But game 4 yesterday, again, a player's great. Truly great. When the opposing fan base, in this case, myself, a Warriors fan, and all of Dub Nation, I don't want to speak for everybody who's a Warriors fan, but I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying this. You're nervous as blank every time he touches the basketball. Late in the fourth quarter, I'm like, oh, please just get the ball out of Fox's hands. I don't care if you double him. I don't care if you get Monk or Trey Lyles or Davion Mitchell or Harrison Barnes like in the last play of the game. I don't care if you give him an open shot. I do not want number 5 taking the shot for Phoenix. And he was fantastic yesterday. Fantastic. So for the entertainment factor of the series, it sucks that he's likely not going to step on the floor. Again, my gut feeling tells me he's going to play, but I think we're going to get 60-70% of De'Aaron Fox. How is he going to be able to grip the ball? How's the ball handling going to work? Listen, he's got about 48 plus hours to kind of figure it out before tip-off in game 5, which is on Wednesday. Which, by the way, I do believe my Warriors will win. I said after game 2. I said on my show after the Warriors lost game 2. They'll take care of home court. I have no doubts about that. It's game 5 that I'm worried about. Because if you can steal game 5, you win the series. You close them out in game 6. And I said on the show today, pencil in the Warriors to win in game 6, because either they'll be in a position where they can get closed out, and that's not going to happen on their home floor, especially as good as they've been at home this season, or they'll be in a position where they can close Sacramento out, and the last thing the Warriors want is to have to go back to Golden One Center when they've been, again, as bad as they've been on the road this season. So again, the line I saw this morning, the line was Sacramento -1.5. It's now totally shifted in the other direction. It's Golden State -4, so a 5.5 point difference. And again, home team automatically gets 3 points. So they're essentially saying Golden State's like a 7 to 10 point favorite if this were, in Golden State, 7-point favorite if it was neutral site. So Vegas likes Golden State. I think it's going to be closer than it should be without De'Aaron Fox, or at least without all of De'Aaron Fox. I'm going to roll with my Warriors to win in a high-scoring affair, 119-114. Steph gives you 35. The role play, Wiggins chips in. Draymond continues to shut down Sabonis. And you say, well, how, if Sabonis shut down and Fox isn't all the way there, maybe not even there at all, how do you figure, Bryson, that they're going to get 114? What do we know? It's like I was talking about with Barry about the Lakers. Role players always play better at home. And when you consider how good Keegan Murray played yesterday, he's going to be even better at home. I think Keegan Murray's going to have a big game 5. Malik Monk, who was terrible in Golden State, was awesome in the first 2 games, especially game 1. Gave him 32 points at home at the Golden One Center. Malik Monk will step up. So they'll find a way. Trey Lyles will knock down shots. They'll get their offensive production. But I don't think they'll have the firepower to keep up with the Splash Brothers. Klay, this was his best game of the series yesterday. That's why I'm repping his jersey today. Mr. Klay Thompson. And game 6, Klay's coming, by the way. Warriors winning yesterday guarantees that there'll be a game 6, regardless of who wins game 5. And game 6, Klay, he's a coming. Better worry. Very worry if you're the Sacramento Kings. But game 5, we know the winner, if it's a 2-2 series, the winner of game 5 goes on to win the series like 80-something% of the time. So it's kind of like a game 7 feel. Now, the Warriors have lost a game 5 in a 2-2 series. They did in 2018 against Houston. But what they do, came back, won game 6, won game 7. So they can be done. The series isn't over if the Warriors lose. But I think the Golden State Warriors will take a 3-2 lead. 119-114 over the Sacramento Kings. Barely cover that 4-point spread. And then we'll close this thing out on Friday at the Chase Center in the Bay Area. And we will be very happy. Are the Warriors going to go in game 5, Draymond?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a game 7 if we win game 5?
Nope.
Thank you very much. All right, let's see. I think we got a comment here. Grady, who wins, Lakers or Memphis tonight? I've got the Lakers in a close one. Memphis played pretty well in the second half, at least once Brooks was ejected. I think it is a back-and-forth showdown. I do not think you get the 31-17 AD that we got on Saturday. Again, like I called him last week, he's coin flip Davis. He's amazing in game 1, horrible in game 2. He was amazing in game 3. I don't think he'll be bad in game 4, considering the fact that he's at home. But it's going to be an underwhelming performance from AD. Not a bad one like game 2, but underwhelming. So we're thinking like maybe 19, 20 points, 8, 9 rebounds, not a great shooting percentage. It's going to have to be, I'm calling it on the show. LeBron's going to be LeBron. I think Austin Reeves is going to play well. Tonight is going to be the Malik Beasley game. You heard it here first. Malik Beasley's been bad the whole series. This is his opportunity to step up, and the Lakers will take a 3-1 lead back to Memphis. I think Memphis will win game 5, and the Lakers will close them out in game 6. I had Lakers in 7 coming in. I'm thinking now more Lakers in 6. If they lose tonight, though, I'm still picking the Lakers, but that momentum totally shifts in that case. So we shall see. All right, that is all the time we have for today's show. Appreciate everybody stopping by as always. Be sure to catch Carving It Up Live on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time on Twitter, as well as the Grid YouTube channel and the Carving It Up YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, comment, and take 2 seconds out of your day. Hit that big red subscribe button right there. Helps the channel grow exponentially. And be sure to go subscribe to the Grid Network. That is GRYD, the Grid Podcast Network. You saw the co-founder of the Grid today, Barry Grant Jr., did a phenomenal job as always. Great new show, by the way, All Even Podcast on Saturday. Check his stuff out. Also got Patrick Brown, who's in the comments. The Forum podcast, great show recently about the whole Dillon Brooks poking the bear thing. Loved it. Check out the Forum and the Chaotic Sports podcast. We've got Ryan Flowers, who's kicking butt right now with the Clutch Sports Talk podcast. Did a great show yesterday. He's doing a ton of stuff on the draft. We've got Alfred Parsard Jr., the Metropolitan Reports, and the Rocket Fuel Jets podcast. I anticipate a Rocket Fuel episode coming soon with the new Aaron Rodgers news. The fact that, unfortunately, for Barry's show, the Aaron watch is over. That's gonna be, stinks that that's done, but hey, it was fun while it lasted. We also got Parnell for the Commanders Demand podcast. We may have Parnell on the show on Thursday. Looking to try and get him on. Let's see. We got Parnell. We've got the Cowboys Cam fan guys who did a show recently. Ant, Alex, Adam do a fantastic job. Be up there in Canada. Big Cowboys fans. If you love the Cowboys, if you love football, if you love fun, and I'm just going to say, if you love cracking them, that's your show to go to. Crack if you got them, as the Cam fan guys would say. We've got amazing talent on the grid. Love every single one of those guys. And by the way, we've got some new members as well, so stay tuned for that. And all of these incredibly talented people will be on display Thursday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time, the Grid 2023 draft, NFL draft, live reaction show. I will be hosting, as Barry mentioned. Shouts to Ryan for this incredible graphic. And not just because it has my face on, because it has the prospects whose lives will be changed forever. So looking forward to it. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on the Grid YouTube channel. We may be on other platforms like Twitter, Facebook. We'll see. We're trying to get that worked out. But definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. All 31 first-round picks, and it's going to be fun. So definitely be sure to tune in to my show at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on Thursday, and then more importantly, to the Grid 2023 NFL Draft live reaction show on Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on YouTube and on other platforms. We'll try and get that worked out. Have a great week, everybody. Please continue to stay safe out there. Please be sure to take care of your physical as well as your mental health. And be sure to call your local state representatives and senators to demand change for gun violence. God bless you all. Peace out. Hope I have a better day than Tucker and Don. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.